Morning all. Let us today discuss the hypertension physiology aspects है इसको समझना to understand the what is hypertension, what is pathophysiology, and what is the basis of the management. Hypertension is also known as high blood pressure, and it is a long-term medical condition in which blood pressure in arteries is persistently elevated. Systemic arteries. Usually the hypertension is high blood pressure in systemic arteries. Even after the repeated measurements by different instruments and by different individuals, arterial blood pressure remains persistently high. That we can label as a hypertension. Sometimes for a momentary period, pressure may be high. But if it is not very high and does not require immediate attention, slight rise in BP, patient should be called next day and again taken the blood pressure by two individuals. This is persistently high, then you can label the patient as a patient of hypertension. So high blood pressure happens when the vessels are partly blocked by cholesterol. The heart has to pump much harder to push the blood through the higher pressure on the blood vessel. This is a patent lumen of the artery. This is partially blocked. So you need high pressure to pump the blood. Actually, hypertension it looks like a disease, but actually it is a mechanism. Okay, compensatory mechanism. Compensatory mechanism by the body physiology. To overcome some problem, if this is the you want to give same amount of blood, the ultimate aim is to perfuse the tissues. If the lumen is reduced, you have to increase the pressure. Then see this is very interesting hemodynamic rules which we can see. The small amount of artery occlusion, this is a completely healthy artery. If it is 20% blocked, only 20%, and the what is the flow rate? It becomes only 41. Previously in healthy artery, blood flow was 100 cubic centimeter per minute. Now it becomes only 41, which is 20% occlusion. And if you want to supply this 100 cubic centimeter, you need blood pressure at 293 millimeter of mercury. If there is a 50% block, instead of 100 cubic centimeter, only 6.3 cubic millimeter will flow. And if you have to make the blood flow 100, same as the healthy one, you need 120 millimeter mercury blood pressure. And pressure, then if it is 80% block, out of 100 cubic centimeter per minute, only 0.16 cubic centimeter per minute will flow. If it is 80% block, and you need 75,000 millimeter of mercury. It looks somewhat awkward, but it's really true in an individual organ or individual where the arteries block like that. Many times you see coronary other arteries block 80%, even 90%, 50%, 70% is usual block. But because we have in systemic other organs, and if the organs are arranged in parallel, so the resistance is reduced. So overall, we don't see such high BP, but there is a great problem when the lumen is occluded. There is a great problem in blood flow. The ultimate aim is to perfuse the tissues. So this is the same thing. No hypertension, heart can pump normally. The hypertension, the pumping of the heart becomes harder, and blood may not flow easily through the vessels. Blood pressure 90%, the don't know the causes, but actually we are not able to detect it. Actually, everything has a cause. So hypertension is a compensatory mechanism by the body to have more adequate blood flow. So this is what can happen. Heart and blood vessels are being overworked. Pressure ज़्यादा है, they have to work more. Untreated, the disease can lead to atherosclerosis and congestive heart failure. And, and this is enlarged heart, the atherosclerosis in the arteries. And according to this hemodynamics also, see original flow rate 100 cubic centimeter per second. Effect of change in all various parameters. You can see if you change the radius, just become double. The flow becomes 60, 100. Reverse is also true. To make the radius half, then flow will reduce to R raised to 4. So this is the most powerful mechanism of radius of the vessel. So when there is occlusion, naturally there is a great decrease in blood flow according to these hemodynamic principles. So the hypertension is a huge problem throughout the world. These are the few epidemiological facts. It is estimated that approximately 22% of the population, 1 billion of the people out of 6 billion total population, 1 billion are suffering from hypertension. All may not be knowing it is silent disease. And if you see even in India, 75% people are normotensive. They are, that's why the blood pressure is normal. They are 25% population either having pre-hypertension or hypertension. 11.8 these are the 11.8 are the label hypertension of the population. Think our population is 135 crores. So more than 14 crore, 15 crore people. It is a huge health burden on the country also. And 12.4%, similar amount is slightly more, is having pre-hypertension, beginning of hypertension. So already, if the 15,000 cases were studied, and you have see the different states. What is this is the condition. This is a red one is the non-hypertension. This is a blue one is a newly diagnosed hypertension cases, and these are pre-hypertension. So you can see the pre-hypertension is even more than the hypertension. And newly diagnosed are there. A lot of are being diagnosed, and so that means equal amount, at least equal amount of hypertension. Equal amount is in the process of being hypertensive. Sometimes the children also, the incidence of hypertension children also rising. Last 20 years in the United States, because I studied well there, we don't have proper statistics. It's a long-term medical condition when the blood pressure is persistently elevated. I told you, high blood pressure typically does not cause symptoms. That is very important. Why it's so much burden? Because you don't see because it is a silent killer. There are no symptoms. Majority of cases, no symptoms. The patient will not come to doctor. So it will not be diagnosed. It will be neglected. During that time, will go on damaging the body organs. So typically the high blood pressure does not cause symptoms. Long-term high blood pressure, however, is a major risk factor. Long-term hypertension is there. It is a very major risk factor for a stroke, this cerebrovascular stroke, coronary artery disease, heart failure, atrial fibrillation, peripheral arterial disease, visual loss, chronic kidney disease, and dementia. So, is it classified as primary hypertension or secondary hypertension? But 90 to 95% of cases are primary. That means we don't know the cause. Essential hypertension we label is essential because we don't know what is the cause. Some hypotheses are there, some genetic factors may be there, but basically primary means we don't know the cause. Secondary, you can label what is the reason. And lifestyle reason including excessive salt in the diet, excess body weight and smoking, alcohol, excessive alcohol use. That may be case, as people are telling here. And there are some indications in the study. The remaining 5 to 10% cases are categorized secondary hypertension due to an identified cause which you can identify. Like because you see in the regulation of blood pressure, the blood pressure is moving around, long-term blood pressure is moving around kidney, in and around kidney. So very important secondary hypertension maybe you have to find out, investigate, detail the kidney and suprarenal gland. That may be the cause of the hypertension. Like tearing of the kidney arteries or endocrine disorders of the suprarenal other glands including corticosteroids. Then as we know with the physiology of blood pressure, it is systolic and diastolic pressure, maximum minimum pressure, and the normal blood pressure range 120 to 80, and the range is 60 to 80 diastolic and 100 to 130 the systolic in the range, and consistently above 140 or 90 that is labeled as hypertension in general. So signs and symptoms, basically hypertension is a silent killer, no symptoms. There may be accidental finding when you go to doctors or other cause and the doctors measures the blood pressure, it may be a finding. But for the hypertension, patient doesn't go to doctor because there are no symptoms. So signs and symptoms these are maybe in the some time after the BP starts. Initially it is silent. They say maybe bluish lips or skin, chest pain, the angina, fluttering chest sensation, that is palpitation, you may feel something in chest, shortness of breath, fatigue or weakness, tired, sometimes lightheadedness, loss of consciousness, dry coughing, abdominal bloating, rapid weight gain, and swollen ankles and legs. Sometimes you feel dizziness. So, if it is a pulmonary artery hypertension, it has very good. It should have identifiable signs and symptoms. You can feel it. It is not good, but it is. At least you can identify it. So you may have dizziness or fainting, a feeling of tired, worn out, chest pain or discomfort, a rapid heartbeat, shortness of breath, swollen abdomen, and swollen legs and calves. If there is a pulmonary hypertension, you will have definite symptoms from very beginning. And identification usually through screening or for other causes patient comes, then you measure the BP. Some people with high blood pressure report headache, particularly back of head in morning, as well as lightheadedness, vertigo, tinnitus, dizziness in the ear, and altered vision or fainting episodes. These symptoms might be related to associated anxiety rather than high blood pressure itself. On physical examination, hypertension may be associated with the presence of changes in optic fundus seen by ophthalmoscopy. This is one of the very important site where you can identify the definite diagnosed BP. If you suspect BP, if you think the blood pressure is high, you should first do is to send the patient for the endoscopy, pathologist. So it is the only site in body where you can directly see the capillaries and small arteries you can see, visualize. So from how much time blood pressure is there, what is the severity of blood pressure, what are the various stages, all you can see in the fundus. The ophthalmologist can see and identify. Severity of the changes of atypical hypertensive retinopathy is graded from grade 1 to 4. Grade 1 and when it will be difficult to differentiate, but at least ophthalmologist can identify there is hypertension. The severity of retinopathy correlates roughly with the duration of कितने टाइम से hypertension है, how long it is there. That also roughly you can identify in the endoscopy. This is the primary, the essential hypertension as we say, primary hypertension 90 to 95% of cases. In secondary hypertension 5 to 10% of cases. The cause is most important renal or maybe endocrinal, cardiovascular, or neurological. With certain specific additional signs and symptoms may suggest secondary hypertension, like hypertension due to another cause like Cushing's syndrome, and that causes the truncal obesity. If there is suddenly BP, your weight is increasing, then it may be, you have to identify, it may be the glucose intolerance, moon shape, hump of the fat behind the neck, because there is a Cushing's syndrome also. There is a tumor, the medulla, the suprarenal gland, all these will occur, and that can be a reason of the hypertension. So the corticosteroid also will be high, along with the aldosterone. That was called hypertension plus the buffalo hump. Purple abdominal stretch marks. These are all because of the high corticosteroids. Hyperthyroidism frequently causes weight loss with increased appetite, fast heart rate, and bulging eyes and tremor. Renal artery stenosis. Because any problem in renal artery stenosis may serve with localized abdominal stretch marks, and that causes renal artery stenosis definitely causes hypertension. Hyperthyroidism frequently causes weight loss with increased appetite, fast heart rate, bulging eyes, and tremor. So these are sometimes it is thought even in primary hypertension it may be caused. Genetics may be one of the cause. Smoking, obesity, higher salt intake, which we call as table salt. Food may already food is having salt, but we are sometimes fond of adding extra salt. It is called table salt. This we avoided. Hormonal imbalance, stress and everyday stress and strain of life, anger. Its nature is such you react more than physiological reaction. You have the inbuilt anger inside, and the high cholesterol and other fats. That these may be reasons even in primary hypertension. It is the so these are the endocrine causes adrenal gland dependent primary hyperaldosteronism. That is called Conn syndrome, pheochromocytoma, in paraganglioma. This is the pheochromocytoma is the tumor of the medulla of the suprarenal gland. And then Cushing's syndrome, that is the more corticosteroids. ACTH dependent, ACTH independent, the pituitary gland dependent Cushing's disease, ACTH dependent Cushing's syndrome, acromegaly, parathyroid gland dependent hyperparathyroidism, thyroid gland dependent hypothyroidism, hyperthyroidism. Non-endocrine causes may be aortic coarctation of aorta, because there is stenosis. So resistance is more. You need much more pressure to negotiate blood through that. Renovascular hypertension, even the renal stone, renal parenchyma disease, any drugs which cause they are the causes salt sensitive with increased salt. There is a abnormal artery which can cause the blood volume. If there is more constantly salt intake or water intake, because it's the genetic disorders, then a sensitive with a more reaction, more emotional outbreaks, kidney disorder, thyroid disorder, congenital uh, vascular defect, endocrine tumor, potassium deficiency. These are the these are the causes. This is the reticular renin-angiotensin renin-angiotensin system defect also can cause this obstruction of aorta. These are the we have already discussed. So what is hypertensive crisis? Severely elevated blood pressure equal to greater than systolic 180 or diastolic more than 110. It is also called malignant hypertension. It is hypertension crisis, and urgency is there. So otherwise there will be severe organ damage. There is no end organ damage resulting. Oral medication I used to lower the blood pressure gradually for 24 to 48 hours. This is hypertension, but it's 180 by 110. Diastolic more than 110, systolic more than 180. Because very high, it can cause cerebral hemorrhage. Many problems it can cause. Brain, it causes acute ischemic stroke, hypertension, encephalopathy, intracerebral subarachnoid hemorrhage. That is problem with this hypertensive emergency or malignant hypertension if it is very high. The heart can cause acute heart failure, acute coronary syndromes, vascular, aortic aneurysm, aortic rupture of aneurysm problem can occur. This is kidney, acute renal insufficiency, acute renal glomerulonephritis. In other eclampsia, retinopathy, retinal hemorrhage, papilledema, microangiopathic hemolytic anemia. साइन हाइपर क्राइसिस में क्या होता है? ब्लड प्रेशर डायस्टोलिक इज ग्रेटर देन 110 or even it may be above 130. Then endoscopic you see hemorrhages, exudates and papilledema and the endoscopic hepatologist. Renal you see oliguria and azotemia. GIT you see nausea and vomiting. These may be symptoms. Sometimes there is a hypertensive encephalopathy. This is a reversible cerebral disorder associated with a high BP in absence of cerebral thrombosis or hemorrhage. Thrombosis hemorrhage नहीं हुआ है, but sometimes there is transient cerebral pulmonary disorder made after excluding other pathology. So you should cerebral thrombosis and hemorrhage etc. You should exclude, rule out by MRI and other investigations. Symptoms: headache, seizures, visual disturbance, nausea, vomiting, cause is theorize the rapid rise in BP overwhelms the autoregulation mechanism of the brain, leads to blood-brain barrier permeability, and it causes brain edema. In hypertension emergency, there is evidence of direct damage to one or more organs. Blood pressure बहुत ही बढ़ गया, very high, so it can cause direct damage to the organs. The most affected organs include the brain, kidney, heart, lungs. Symptoms may include confusion, drowsiness, chest pain, and breathlessness. In hypertension emergency, blood pressure must be reduced more rapidly. Ongoing organ damage, however, there is a lack of randomized controlled evidence. कितने rapidly करना है, उसके लिए proper study नहीं है, but pharmacological agents should be employed. First is the captopril. It is a AC inhibitor, group 1 drug. This is the, the AC inhibitor, AC enzyme, that is angiotensin converting enzyme is lying in lungs, 90%. If you convert the angiotensin 1 to 2, angiotensin 2 is a very powerful vasoconstrictor. If you block this, a sudden lowering of BP. Sometimes we should be careful selection, because captopril may cause sometimes very sudden lowering of BP. Because very powerful drug, when there is a cause is like the renin-angiotensin system is the cause. within 5 to 15 minutes and duration of exercise 2 to 6 hours. And recommended dose is 25 milligram to start. Sublingual dose range is 6.5 to 50 milligram. Maximum dose is 50 milligram. And adverse effect is hyperkalemia, angioedema, rash, decreased renal function, renal artery stenosis. But actually, this is not shown here. Sometimes the captopril cause very severe lowering of BP. That is very dangerous, and it may cause the organs also lack of perfusion, some gangrene, some heart attacks. It can bring about. So you have to judiciously use those who have experience to use, and but emergency blood pressure is very high. You have little choice. You may have to give. That is the AC inhibitor drug. Clonidine is centrally acting alpha 2 agonist, and it takes time 15-30 minutes to act. Duration of action 2 to 8 hours. Dose recommended is 0.1 to 0.2 milligram, followed by 0.05 to 1 milligram every hour until the desired effect. Maximum dose is 0.8 milligram. Clonidine, central acting alpha 2 agonist, and the adverse effect: dry mouth, sedation, orthostatic hypertension, and the rebound hypertension. These are the adverse effects. Labetalol is the alpha 1 selective beta non-selective antagonist. Takes 2 hours to act and 4 hours it can remain effective. Recommended is 200 milligram to start and followed by 200 milligram every hour until desired effect. Maximum dose is 200 milligram. Hypertension, dizziness, headache, nausea and vomiting. When you give IV, then this is in drip. That means you if there is a hypertension, you can stop it. Here it is a problem. If you give sublingual, those immediately effective, but you can withdraw it if there is a sudden hypertension. In pregnancy also, there is a always great problem of hypertension. Most important is any pregnancy you should elicit the history of the siblings, the brother, sister, parents. There should be cousins. Is there any history of hypertension? That lady, you have to be very cautious. Women who had hypertension in pregnancy, sister who did not have hypertension in pregnancy, brothers, if they have any hypertension or not. This is personal history. No issue of hypertension in pregnancy of the sibling. Patients of hypertension or during pregnancy, if there are any sisters or cousin sisters, they have the history of hypertension. This is important. This is hypertension in pregnancy occurs in 8 to 10% of all pregnancies. It is a major issue. And 2 blood pressure measurements 6 hours apart, greater than 140/90, diagnostic of hypertension pregnancy. The hypertension 140/90, 2 measurements 6 hours apart. That you can say there is a problem of hypertension in pregnancy. Each and every case of pregnancy, when it comes to physician and otherwise in routine also, blood pressure must be measured very regularly. High blood pressure pregnancy classified as pre-existing hypertension or gestational hypertension or preeclampsia. This is already patient is having hypertension, then pregnancy. That is one thing. Gestational hypertension, that is only during the delivery occurs after parturition, hypertension will go. Gestational hypertension. Or there is something more, even during the pregnancy, pre-eclampsia, it can turn into eclampsia, and a lot of things are there. Preeclampsia is a serious condition of the second half of pregnancy. And following the delivery, characterized by increased blood pressure and presence of protein in the urine. Protein of urine is important. The increased blood pressure and presence of protein in urine. It occurs about 5% of pregnancy. Responsible 16% of maternal deaths globally. Preeclampsia is a major health hazard. Maternal deaths, जितना भी डेथ 100 डेथ होता है उसमें 16% डेथ होता है ग्लोबली बिकॉज ऑफ द pre-eclampsia. Pre-eclampsia double the risk of death of the baby around the time of birth. Usually there are no symptoms in preeclampsia. It is detected by routine screening. Any patient of pregnancy comes to you, you must measure the blood pressure. When symptoms of preeclampsia occur, most common are headache, visual disturbance or flashing light, vomiting, pain over the stomach or swelling. Preeclampsia can occasionally progress to a life-threatening condition of eclampsia. It is a major development. Preeclampsia turns into eclampsia. It is a great problem. It is a emergency, hypertension emergency. It has several serious complications including visual loss, brain swelling, seizures, kidney failure, pulmonary edema, disseminated intravascular coagulation. This is a very serious problem. So, it is very difficult to save the patient. In contrast, gestational hypertension is defined as the new onset hypertension during pregnancy without protein in urine. What is different between gestational hypertension and preeclampsia? There is no protein in the urine in the gestational hypertension. In children also, and hypertension in newborn, some not very common, but maybe failure to thrive, seizures, inability of lack of energy and difficulty in breathing can associate hypertension in newborns and young infants. Older infants and children, hypertension can cause headache, unexplained irritability, fatigue, failure to thrive, blur vision. Irritable hair, so you should measure the BP also. What is primary hypertension? We don't know the cause actually. This is primary hypertension. Results from a complex interaction of genes and environmental factors. That we are thinking, theories are coming out. Numerous common genetic variants with small effects of blood. This is the secondary hypertension, chronic renal disease, Cushing syndrome, hyperaldosteronism, the pheochromocytoma. This is figure we have seen previously. This is the we identify always the right genetic variant. So, in primary also, this is the normal vessel. Pre-hypertension starts occluding, and hypertension is greatly occluded element. That we have seen what it can cause: brain, cerebral accident, hypertension, encephalopathy, confusion, headache, and convulsion. Retina and retinopathy. Heart, myocardial infarction, heart attack, hypertension, cardiomyopathy, and failure, hypertrophy. Many things can occur. Disturbance rhythm, cardiac arrhythmia, elevated sugar levels, and kidney hypertension, nephropathy, chronic renal failure. Due to hypertension, but due to kidney causes also there will be hypertension. Repeat. High blood pressure, sign that heart blood vessel is being overworked. That we have seen. What are the symptoms? Usually there are no symptoms as I told you. But later on there will be dizziness, fainting, headache, chest pain, angina, difficulty breathing, blurred vision, nose bleeding, cardiac arrhythmias, swollen abdomen, fatigue, edema. Later part. What are the complications that we have seen? What are the complications? Hypertension, we don't know the reason, for example, but hypertension itself is damaging the body. So, the narrow and stiff blood vessel in the CNS, the normal vessel, it can cause heart attack here. Many other problems just we have seen: kidney damage, the stroke in brain, heart failure, hypertrophy, arrhythmia, a lot of problems. Visual loss can cause heart attack also, kidney disease and failure, sexual dysfunction. Most people with essential or established hypertension increase resistance to blood flow. Total peripheral resistance accounts for high pressure while cardiac output remains normal. Cardiac output is normal, but there is a increased peripheral resistance. So the pressure will be high. And there is a borderline hypertension. But don't become too much excessive, because the pharmacy companies, they are marketing slight rise in BP is a great range. I don't think blood pressure is 140 by 90. Below that, only non-pharmacological treatment carried out, but pharmacological treatment is not desirable, according to me, because because billions of rupees are spent in the marketing of the pharmaceutical companies in name of the borderline hypertension, pre-hypertension. So high cardiac output and elevated heart rate and normal peripheral resistance come hyperkinetic borderline hypertension. These individuals develop typical features of established essential hypertension later in life. The cardiac output falls and peripheral resistance rises with age. You should keep in watch. If the pattern is typical of people, at that time you can take non-pharmacological measures to reduce the BP, obesity, etc. But pharmacological treatment before 140 by 90 is not uh, desirable. The increased peripheral resistance essentially established hypertension is mainly due to structural narrowing of arteries and arterioles, although reduction in number of density of capillary may also contribute. Not clear whether or not vasoconstriction, the blood pressure role in hypertension. Hypertension also said with the decreased peripheral venous compliance with many increased venous return, increased preload, ultimately cause diastolic dysfunction. This is another reason, not only arteries but in veins also. This is the if there is a in compliance of the vein is decreased, the capacity to distensibility of vein is decreased. So it cannot accommodate more blood now. Then extra blood goes in form of more venous return to the heart. That is the increases preload. That is called diastolic dysfunction. And many other problems. The pulse pressure, which is difference between the systolic and diastolic, frequently occurs in older people with hypertension. That means systolic pressure is abnormally high, diastolic pressure is low or normal or even slightly raised. As you know, the elderly people, systolic constantly rise, so the pulse pressure is more. High pulse pressure in elderly people with hypertension or isolated systolic hypertension, expressed by increased arterial stiffness, with typically accompanying again and maybe exacerbated high blood pressure, and account of rise in peripheral resistance. That is, there is already told you, kidney salt and water handling of kidney, that is important, and so taking low salt diet, it is important. So angiotensin system is activated, and the extracellular fluid inherent capacity of kidney plus the aldosterone, these are the final regulator of blood pressure. So any problem in kidney, naturally it will cause the high BP. These are the intermediaries, the tumor necrosis factor and interleukin 1, interleukin 6 and interleukin 8. Diagnosis basis of persistence of the high resting blood pressure. This is American Heart Association. They have these are device, this optimal 120 by 80 and the up to 129 and 84 considered normal, and high normal up to 140 up to 90. Grade 1 hypertension is after 140 by 90. If you any go 140 by 90, it is definitely a hypertension. Grade 2 is 160 and the BP and the more than 100 up to 110 is grade 2. Grade 3 is more than 110 diastolic, more than 180. This is very severe. Only systolic blood pressure is increased, more than 140. Diastolic is not increased. Risk of cardiovascular disease progressively above 115 by 75 minutes to below this level is limited evidence. Then naturally these are all the evidences which we have seen. Blood pressure also changes in response to temperature, noise, emotion, stress, consumption of food or lipid, dietary factors, physical activity, changes in posture, long standing up drugs and disease. Variability of blood pressure and better predictive value of the ambulatory blood pressure measurements. These are such measurements should be there when ambulatory blood pressure measurements led to some authorities such as National Institute of Health in UK. They have advised the ambulatory blood pressure measurements, and they are the gold standard. This is palpatory and oscillatory method is gold standard. Blood pressure should be diagnosed by this only, by a clinician. But there are digital sphygmomanometer used to measure the blood pressure. This is also in use. You should label the hypertension with palpatory and olfactory method, gold standard method by clinician. Then you can monitor it with this is the digital sphygmomanometer, nowadays very much in use. So patient can monitor the BP by themselves, but there should be you should compare with this. First, you should compare with this. If there is any high or low, some error is there, then we can keep in mind. Then we have the oscillatory methods, as you have seen. Difference between left and right arm blood pressure measurement tend to be small. Generally, if you measure right and left arm, both will be same. But because the timing is different, there is some difference can come. So anyway, once patient will, as I told you, in screening procedure, patient come from other cause, you accidentally record the BP, or you you come across that this patient is hypertension. What should you do? Because you have to all investigate all the systems for how much time. Most important is not written here. Most important is you should send the patient to the ophthalmologist. This first investigation must be done. That is to see the endoscopy. See the endoscopy is that is most important. So it is not at all. Big hospitals like Ngaram Hospital, they are more interested in earning money rather than doing basic thing. This is most important. First, before even funders, you take the detailed history. Generally, nowadays, detailed history is not taken. Family history, everything which I tell you, diet history. Most important is the first thing, not most important, but first is take the detailed history. Detailed history taking, then fundus examination. First thing. Only after you see find out the fundus examination, it will support that there is hypertension. कितने time से पता चल जाएगा. Then depending on long term है, to do all the investigations. This is the serum creatine kidney damage के लिए electrolyte thyroid function test. These are tests aldosterone, but they are not written. The most important investigations. First test the X-ray test, only X-ray test, because it will show the size of the heart. Here there is major abnormalities. Then you do the doctor who is doing will never forget the things. This is a very important is the nowadays do echocardiogram. These are the harmless. Even you can avoid XHS, but echocardiography is the key nowadays because the NB, if you feel echocardiography, you can do the treadmill test. The patient is fit for that because sometimes it's dangerous. Patient is having more problem. So do the treadmill test in echocardiography. That is very important. Echo will give you the health of the heart and of course the ECG cheaper one you cannot forget. First take the ECG because you can look inside the heart in the detailed examination, clinical examination. These are the key things. Today, even I am in physiology, I can identify most of the things what a patient may have just by clinical exam without any investigation. So if you are dealing with the heart since many years, confidently you can say. So first take detailed history, take detailed clinical examination of cardiovascular system, other systems. Then do the X-ray test, ECG, simple intervention first. Echocardiography, very important treadmill test. If patient is found fit, because in physiology also we are doing it. In the treadmill test in the physiology department, in PJ Medical when I was there, we were running the cardiopulmonary lab. We were doing routinely the treadmill tests. So the all these are the investigations which are must. We want to know the condition of the cardiovascular system, especially cardiovascular system first, then other systems also. In the examination, after the clinical exam, most important, fundus examination. Send to the ophthalmologist. Then X-ray test, ECG, look inside the heart. When you take the clinical exam and you hear the heart sounds, anything, all the things we can do in the examination. And then echocardiography will be a very good idea. Then treadmill test is fit. Apart from the you want to evaluate the renal function test, then other function test, these are shown here. Aldosterone renin ratio, hyper investigation have been suggested. Generally not required. You can easily identify it. Kidney, the urine analysis, protein in urine, endocrine serum, sodium, potassium, metabolic blood glucose, HDL, LDL, total cholesterol, triglycerides, other hematocrit, electrocardiogram, chest radiogram that I already told you. So these are the just diagnosis of hypertension is sufficient. You have to assess the whole body. If a hypertension has caused any damage up till now, then also elicit careful history of risk factors and secondary hypertension. First, rule out the secondary hypertension. Most important is find out if there is any cause of secondary hypertension. If there is any problem in kidney, if there is any pregnancy, any renal angiotensin system, if there is problem in the heart or stenosis, compression, aorta. If you can, then you treat the cause, then hypertension will go. So that's why it is first thing is to find out the secondary hypertension and cure the hypertension. The history in genes, laboratory tests from identify causes of the hypertension and damage to the then how much complication has occurred, damage to the heart, eyes, kidney. Research tests for diabetes and cholesterol are usually performed because these are risk factors. This we have seen the secondary hypertension. You to elicit the most important is kidney, then you elicit the heart and see the brain and this all this pheochromocytoma and all other causes any angiotensin problem. These are the any hormonal imbalances there. They are the causes which we have seen. So this is the normal pre-hypertension up to 140 by 90, stage 1 140 by 90 above, stage 2 160 by 100, stage 3 is malignant hypertension. And non-pharmacology of prevention or the treatment, non-pharmacology treatment. Why you should do a primary prevention disease management? What should do most important non-pharmacological drug नहीं देना है. Reduction if the rate is more, weight is more, reduce the weight, reduction in sodium intake, high potassium diet, regular dynamic exercise. If you are consuming alcohol, it should be mild alcohol consumption. Choice of pharmacological treatment that will depend on the individual compelling indication. इस पे आपको फार्माको ट्रीटमेंट देना ही है, ये कंडीशन है. तो इससे में हार्ट डिजीज एसोसिएटेड है, recent ST segment elevation or that means TP segment disturbance is there, or there is a recent malware infection, or the left ventricular dysfunction, hypertrophy, cerebrovascular accident हुआ है, then non-diabetic chronic disease condition है, renovascular disease है, smoking है, diabetes mellitus है, there is a nephropathy, without nephropathy, global vascular problem है, this is the, in that case drugs आपको देना ही है, only non फार्माको ट्रीटमेंट से नहीं चलेगा. सीधी pre-hypertension, then drugs should not be given up to 140/90. If patient is stage 1 hypertension, 140/90 से ऊपर है, then any without compelling indication नहीं है, तो जो आगे बताया वो कंडीशन नहीं है, तो should start with diuretics. It is considered must. There is a mild therapy, it is important one. यदि सबको most of them को contraindicated नहीं है तो thiazide type diuretic दीजिए, and you can consider AC inhibitor 1 that I don't advocate. I have seen many cases of severe hypertension. So in such cases I don't advise the AC inhibitors. But other drugs like these are the other drugs, and the calcium channel blockers and beta blockers are very important. Beta blockers, you should start with beta blockers. Drugs then ही है to start with beta blockers, not AC inhibitors. The people are advocating, the physicians are advocating, but I don't prefer it. Beta blocker is very safe drug and very to start with. And the stage 1 में दूसरे को देने की जरूरत नहीं है. Actually, stage 2 है, and if it not control, you can add another drug. If by this also it remains persistently high, you can add the drugs. Stage 2 hypertension, usually give thiazide also plus beta blocker ये, plus you can add this same drug दिया वो दीजिए, plus you can add the like the AC inhibitor drug and beta blocker, calcium channel blockers, and you can add these. Drug treatment, remember, these are the things which need not, I don't believe in this. So pharmacomedicine, these are the types of drugs which are available. Alpha blockers, you have the beta blocker should be above, सबसे पहले beta blocker, alpha blocker, फिर aldosterone antagonist, angiotensin converting enzyme inhibitors, AC enzyme inhibitors, very common drugs. Angiotensin 2 receptor blockers, then centrally acting alpha 2 blocker, etc. Diuretics, diuretics सबसे पहले है, diuretics सबसे पहले ऊपर, then beta blockers like this, renin inhibitors, vasodilators. These are the drugs which are to be taken into consideration. Patient is younger, A plus C plus A B like this. These are the things you will see other changes to reduce the blood pressure. There is a strong evidence है, it can reduce the blood pressure. क्या करना है? Reduce the weight, reduction in salt intake, increase the physical activity. Not strenuous exercise, but do the physical activity. So better. Sedentary life is very harmful. And these are the strong evidence. Weight reduction, reduction in salt intake, and physical activity. These are strong evidence that this will reduce your blood pressure problem. Good evidence is that you increase the potassium intake, and reduce the alcohol intake, increase olive oil consumption, reduction in coffee intake, and increase the fiber intake. That means the fruits and vegetables that you take more. So these are the, if you have to manage it. So whatever damage is occurred already, but vascular injury is going on, take healthy diet, reduce the salt dietary salt intake, smoking stop कर दीजिए, exercise करिए regular, alcohol consumption reduce करिए, and if जरूरत है तो ये सब drugs दीजिए. Mineralocorticoid receptor antagonist, calcium channel blockers, engine 2 receptor blockers, AC inhibitors, beta blocker, etc. That may maintain your vascular health. These are the various doses. Now same thing is repeated. This is the salt intake, the restrict the diet like this, moderate alcohol intake, increase the vegetables in your dish, fruit, low dairy diet, and the BMI goals to be below 25 kg per square meter. waist circumference, this much should be your target exercise goal should be there. Quit smoking. This is in short again revision. The essential hypertension 95%, underlying cause secondary hypertension. The cause of secondary hypertension are renal parenchymal disease, vascular or other causes of renal problem, endocrine, miscellaneous and unknown causes. The classification the same thing which I told you. The 25% urban population and 10% of the population suffer from hypertension. Is people have done some survey. So 70% of hypertensive patients, because the rural population is having more exercise. Maybe reason, don't know exact. These are not exact suggestions. 70% of hypertensive patients are stage 1 hypertension. So that is very helpful. Stage 1 में यहाँ पे है. Take all the non-pharmacological measures, so you can control the hypertension. 12% hypertension suffer from isolated systolic hypertension. Also, usually elderly people who are at risk. The advancing age increases, there is more risk. Men and all men in the post-menopausal women, they are at risk. Family history of cardiovascular disease, sedentary lifestyle, sociocultural stress issues, smoking, high cholesterol diet, low food consumption, obesity and weight gain, coexisting disorders like diabetes and hyperlipidemia, high intake of alcohol. These are the risk factors. Young cardiac output increase and but the peripheral resistance is stable. The pattern in hypertension. If there is hypertension in young, it may be due to increased cardiac output. Within elderly, it is due to the increased peripheral resistance. Secondary hypertension, renal causes, that is the 80% of cases. Polycystic kidney, pheochromocytoma, renal artery stenosis, all these things are. And then the B is endocrine, adrenal, acromegaly. These are the things, the hypothyroidism and the primary aldosterone cousin syndrome, pheochromocytoma, or contraceptives and glucocorticoids. These are the other endocrines in secondary. This is 5% of cases, 5 to 10%. Etiology of the systemic hypertension, that is the obstruction of aorta, pregnancy-induced preeclampsia, sleep apnea syndrome. Who to treat? This is attributed to hypertension. Why to treat it? Because there are a lot of disease can occur. The aortic aneurysm can occur, gangrene can occur, heart failure, left ventricular hypertrophy, myocardial infarction, coronary artery disease, hypertension coupled with the cerebral hemorrhage, chronic disease in the kidney. Then target organs are heart, these are the brain, then chronic CVD risk is there. It is a silent killer. So there is no, first and most important fact is there is no clinical manifestation. Parents will not come to you for hypertension. Sometimes there will be morning occipital headache, dizziness, fatigue. Severe hypertension, there is a epistaxis, there is bleeding from nose and blood vision. Then the self measurement of BP. It is nowadays with the electronic instrument, it is possible. This we have seen. How to the overview of the treatment, goal of the therapy, lifestyle modification, pharmacology treatment. This is lifestyle modification is very important. Hello, treatment of hypertension, follow-up and monitoring. Monitoring is also important. Goal of therapy, reduce the cardiac and renal morbidity and mortality. You cannot complete this topic. As Baba Ramdev is telling, you can never completely avoid death. Lifespan can be increased by modern medicine. It greatly increased. It was before 35 years of average age. Now it is 64. In many countries, developed countries, average age is 80 years, 75 years. This is all due to the modern medical science. So, treat BP 140 by 90 by pharmacological. Otherwise, you can do this non-pharmacological treatment. Avoid harmful heavy like smoking and alcohol. Reduce salt, high fat diet. lose weight if obeys regular exercise and fiber diet. This is the same thing which I told you. If you reduce the weight, it can systolic blood pressure can reduce 5 to 20 millimeter mercury to lose the 10 kilogram weight. That is very important. 10 gram of low weight to reduce the BP 5 to 20 millimeter mercury. And fiber diet it can reduce 8 to 14 millimeter mercury. Dietary sodium if you reduce it to 2 to 8 millimeter mercury. If you do the physical activity reduce 2 to 4 to 9 millimeter mercury. Moderate alcohol consumption if you reduce it will reduce the BP 2 to 4. So this is the antihypertensive drugs. Antihypertensive drugs acting in lead site because the types are very small. It is very difficult to read for you. So, but it can act either it can act at the sympathetic ganglion or it can act at alpha receptor blocker. The blood vessel, the alpha receptor lies in blood vessel. So, vascular smooth muscle, it can act like a drug like hydrazine, verapamil, and lot of drugs they can act here. Then drugs which act on the renin angiotensin mechanism, like angiotensin 1 to 2 converter, the beta blocker, the act on heart when the heart is stimulated by sympathetic beta blockers. So you block these the beta blocker drugs and sympathetic. These are the various drugs. Diuretics, hydrochlorothiazide, and initial dose is 12.5 milligram once a day, and maintenance dose is 12.5 to 25 milligram once a day. That is diuretic is the first drug of choice as I told you. Second drug is beta blocker. This is a propranolol, atenolol. They are very good drugs, safe drugs. Some side effect will be there. Even you take even you take food, some side effect will be there. But these are comparatively safer drugs. In the beta blocker, is 25 to 50 milligram once a day, and maintenance dose is 50 to 100 milligram once a day. In calcium channel blockers, say amlodipine, 2.5 to 5 milligram once a day, maintenance dose is 5 to 10 milligram once a day. Alpha blockers, prazosin, one of the trade name, in others also, 2.5 milligram once a day, 2.5 to 10 milligram once a day, that is maintenance dose. ACE inhibitor, as I told you, a dangerous drugs, very powerful drug but very dangerous also. So it may bring about the reduction in the normal blood pressure. It goes hypertension. While this will not cause hypertension, it will not reduce the normal blood pressure. So this is it can reduce the normal blood pressure. ACE inhibited drugs, but powerful. You can consider in experience and ramipril. There is captopril. Many of the drugs are coming. 1.25 to 5 milligram once a day, and 5 to 20 milligram is a maintenance dose. Angiotensin 2 receptor blockers, losartan, we commonly use other trade names also. 25 to 50 milligram once a day. Maintenance dose is 50 to 100 milligram once a day. Diuretics like hydrochlorothiazide. How it acts? Acts by decreasing the blood volume and cardiac output. Because it decreases the blood volume, that's why the blood pressure will decrease. Decrease peripheral resistance during chronic therapy, and drugs of choice in elderly hypertensives. Elderly, it is a choice of drug choice. But there may be some side effect, you have to be careful. It can bring about, long use can give hypokalemia. You have to take extra potassium diet. Hyponatremia, sodium also can be reduced because more units, sodium, potassium is passing. Hyperlipidemia, then hyperuricemia, then the hyperglycemia. Diabetes may should not be given. Not safe in renal and hepatic insufficiency. Renal damage, liver damage there should not be given this drug. Another drug is also considered completely safe and very commonly used is a beta blocker like metoprolol, atenolol. These are they block the beta 1 receptor on the heart and block the beta 2 receptor of kidney and inhibit release of renin. Decrease the rate force of contraction and thus reduce the cardiac output. Drugs of choice in patients with coexistent coronary heart disease. दूसरा पे coronary heart disease है, तो this is the drug of choice because it gives rest to the heart. So any sympathetic stimulation to the heart is blocked. So the overstimulation of the heart is avoided. The heart get rest. So a drug of choice, if there is any other causes of coronary abnormality, the beta blocker is the drug of choice. Side effects are there. Lethargy, impotence is the main side effect. Should be kept in mind because it blocks the sympathetics. And the bradycardia can occur. Notes in patients with coexisting asthma and diabetes. It is asthma because it blocks the beta receptors, which cause the bronchodilation. So patient should not, patient suffering from asthma should not give beta blockers. In even individual lipid profile, you keep in mind. This is to keep in mind. Otherwise, comparatively very safe drug. Then alpha blocker, prazosin. How it acts? It blocks alpha 1 receptors and cause vasodilation, reduce peripheral resistance, venous return, exert beneficiary on lipids and insulin sensitivity, drug up in patients with coexisting conditions. Postural hypertension is the another side effect. Then this is other alpha blocker we have seen. This is the another drug. That is same thing we have seen. If there is asthma, preferred drug is calcium channel blocker. What drug should be preferred? That is the important. If there is a percentage of asthma, calcium channel blocker should be other drug. It can be used alpha blockers, angiotensin 2 receptor blockers, diuretics and ACE inhibitors. They can also be given. Then should not be given is beta blocker. Then the diabetes mellitus drug of choice is the alpha blockers, ACE inhibitors, angiotensin 2 receptor blockers. And diuretics and beta blockers should not be given in diabetes mellitus. High cholesterol level, the drug of choice is alpha blocker and beta blockers and diuretics should not be given. Above 60 years of age, calcium channel blockers and diuretics should be given. And this is the calcium channel. These are the things we have seen. Pregnancy is deferred choice. The preferred drug is nifedipine, labetalol, hydrolysine, beta blockers, methyl-dopa, and coronary artery disease, beta blockers, ACE inhibitors, calcium channel blockers. Congestive heart failure, ACE inhibitors, and beta blockers. So this is about the hypertension and how you should treat the hypertension. It's a constantly elevated hypertension, and because it is there is a problem in vessel. That's why nature has pressure is rise. This is compensating mechanism. In great increase blood pressure को बढ़ाना ही पड़ेगा. Main blood flow maintain करना है. There is the hemodynamic principle. That's why the hypertension occurs because the Poiseuille's law, Ohm's law. You know this, and in India 11.8% is suffering from the hypertension. 75% normal, and these are in process of becoming the hypertensive. This is the in 15,000 cases of the hypertension. You can see a lot of people are suffering from pre-hypertension. They are newly developed. A lot of people are need to be recognized. These are the sign symptoms. This is in the pulmonary hypertension. Sometimes there may be sign symptoms. These are the causes, secondary hypertension, the probable causes of the hypertonic crisis, 180/10, and this is what can happen in crisis. The pregnancy, the genetic history is very important. These are the other causes. So we have seen these. What can occur blood pressure consistently for a long period of time. This is about today's class. Thank you very much for attending.